I plan to take my computer apart today, but decided to jam this in before doing that. Shut up. Um, which may be irresponsible, I don't know, we'll just make it happen. So, very recently, the game decided to get quite silly. And it turns out that I am very poor at consuming media that's silly. I just don't do it. For no particular good reason. We'll try to overcome that and do the silly stuff. So, last time we ended off with Saki committing suicide. That might be one of those. So, YouTube, if certain words are used in the video, which in this case it's probably, in the case of these, it's probably like irrelevant because there is some profanity in the text. And however YouTube parses this probably has something that can identify that. But you know how there's like a name of a certain disease that if you say in your video, YouTube will deem it as not advertisement friendly, or a certain political movement in the late 1930s in Germany. If you mention it, then like just the name of it, then YouTube might deem your video not advertiser friendly, and it has nothing to do with the legality of anything. It's just in my opinion, which isn't an opinion. It's because I say not an opinion because some people claim things are opinions that really should be called opinions. That's immoral. To basically just do preference of your content on like a crowdsourced site based on use of certain miscellaneous words of things that are real, that exist, and that people should be able to face them. But whatever. It's just what I have to say. Maybe suicide is one of those words. Like you say that in a video and it gets crushed by the algorithm or something. But you tend to notice that in some of these Japanese mediums, these Japanese pieces of media, topic comes up a lot, and usually the suicide is done by either hanging or jumping off of something. And before you jump off, you take off your shoes. Let me try to search something up here. I also just thought of another way that Doki Doki Literature Club is a spoof or parody on Japanese media. Because it just kind of throws in that other element. It's actually not completely clear whether or not Saki intended to kill herself, because there's some implication she has some understanding about what the bell is or what it does. No, I can't find it. Okay, I should have found it beforehand. I don't think of these things. Okay. Oh well. There's some sort of Hatsune Miku song that involves an unidentified main character, a simulated voice, walking to a roof to jump off, and that character sees a girl standing there, and the first person character says "Don't jump," and figures out a way to convince that person not to jump off, and then that happens repeatedly throughout the various verses of the stanzas of the song, and then at the end, that person finally finds no one there when they go up to the roof to jump, and no one comes to convince them not to jump off, and they jump off, and that's how the song ends. Okay. Most of the other routes are kind of this dumb thing, kind of this plot line of, well, should I describe this or not? Yeah, I'll just play. Yeah, whatever. I quickly jump out of the bed. Or read more so than play. I stand in the center of the room and look around. There's no mistaking it. This is my bedroom. What's going on? That's right. I guess you have to say that somehow something kind of irks me about how the romance is done. But probably no matter what you wrote, if it was a romance, I would be irked by some element of it somewhere. It's probably unavoidable. I try to kind of write it off and be casual about it by saying that the game's only 6 days long, so you gotta sort of kiss the girl by day 6. So that just kind of happens somehow because the deadline. It's just a deadline, right? I definitely follow Saki to Viewpoint Park. And then Saki plunges into the sea before my very eyes. A dream. Was that a dream? However, for a dream, I remember it quite clearly. Also, I don't just remember that moment. I have memories of what happened before that, and the day before that, and the day before that one. One by one, I remember the various events that happened during the camp. That's wrong. That's wrong. What am I saying? That wasn't a dream. There's no way it was a dream. Suddenly, I hear a voice as violent as a sound as violent as a gunshot. I turn around, and standing there, I see Yuka. So repeating dialogue. First! What is the meaning of this? What happened? Why am I here? My mind is thrown into extreme confusion. Sorry, Yuka. I brush past Yuka and head for the living room. No one's in the room yet. Before long, the door of the living room slowly opens. The one that comes in is Haruka. Good morning. I try waiting several seconds for a response. But Haruka completely ignores me and quickly disappears into the kitchen as if nothing had happened. I follow her and try to repeat myself. Good morning. Without a word, she turns to the sink faucet, filling her glass cup with water. With a tiny challenge, she drinks the entire cup in one large gulp. Haruka? Haruka doesn't answer. She remains silent as she stares at the drops of water falling from the faucet. This is all exactly the same as the scene I once experienced. Which means if what I'm thinking is correct, then it's at this point that Okuhiko shows up, entering the living room while rubbing the sleep out of his eyes. Hey. It's still unclear whether Okuhiko smokes. Because, in Kurumi's timeline, he does. But this game decides to change the story depending on what your choices are. So it's like he doesn't except when you choose Kurumi, and then suddenly he does. This retroactively makes it so. Huh? I'm not interrupting something, am I? He asks Haruka this as he ignores my presence. No, there's no way it's like that. He glares at me as he laughs. His eyes are filled with scorn. It's the same. Everything's exactly the same. No, actually, that happens before you confront Haruka in the kitchen in the other timeline. The order is slightly different, but okay. So I alone really did go back in time. If that's the case, then Saki's still alive. No, wait, it's too early to be jumping to conclusions, right? Alright, I'll try to confirm if today really is the first. Or the title screen can. Depends. With that thought in my mind, I try my best to let this day go by as I remember it. Oh, we're just gonna skip, okay. Yuka's terrible breakfast. My conversation with Kurumi, who accidentally delivered the pizza to us instead of Saki. Going to the tennis court in the afternoon. The whole time I continue to think only of Saki. Notice how he doesn't claim that he played tennis with Yuka, he says going to the tennis court. Wonder if they're trying to keep that ambiguous because that choice is not required. Even though I thought it was. That was gotta be, because you don't get that extra choice if you go, yeah, it has to be. Guaranteed, it has to be that you have to play tennis with Yuka to get the Saki ending. For the time being, I have no choice but to fret about her. But I can't make any careless actions. If If I take selfish actions, history might change. I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't like it if that resulted in us not meeting Saki. Before long, the sunset arrives. We finally arrive at Luna Beach. We're also able to meet Izumi-san again. All that's left is... My name's Asakura. Is the manager here? I turn around in surprise and unintentionally cry. It's Saki. She's alive right now before my eyes. Yes, that would be me. Same dialogue. Yep, that's Saki. That voice is definitely Saki's. Excuse me, my name is Saki Asakura. I'm from the Asakura Summer House. So that's it. Thank you for your continued patronage. It's not like I always use this place. Where's the pizza that I ordered? Huh? Are you talking? What are you talking about? My pizza. How many hours do you think I've been waiting for it? How many? 6 hours. 6 hours. Just what kind of shop are you running here? Seems there's people out there with quite the free time on their hands. I wasn't talking about you people. I wasn't talking about you either. Don't talk until I say so, got it? For some reason I become happy. That's just like Saki. This is definitely Saki. Okay. What's up with you? You've been staring at me this whole time with this strange grin. Stop doing things that are making me sick. Should I tell her the whole truth? No, even if I do that, it'll probably be useless. There's absolutely no doubt that she wouldn't trust me. It's better if we just close acquaintances. Well, I read that wrong, probably. Better if we're just close acquaintances. To Saki, I'm just nothing more than a complete stranger. Anyway, Saki's alright, that alone's enough. So what did you do for those 6 hours? I waited, of course. For 6 straight hours? Even I don't have that kind of time. Even I told it that. Yes, I told it to make do with just what was there. Well, this is a new line of dialogue. But it fully knew that I had ordered pizza, so even though it doesn't understand my language. So I didn't have any other choice but to play around and wait. Okay. It's kind of cheap it's kind of cheap to have her just not talk about the puppy, and then the same thing happens again, and then she does talk about the puppy, even though the same thing happens again, because they couldn't reveal too many plot points too early in the game. I see. Saki's talking about that puppy. I see. Oni-chan, you understand what she's saying? It's fine, it's fine. At times like this, all you have to do is that. Unless she does say that, and I just forgot. Huh, what do you mean? Can't be helped, so let's just hear her out for now. These types just want to talk. Then they go back home and tell them to just endure it, okay? But why do I have to put up with it? Because there was a mistake in her delivery, so... What? Kurumi definitely delivered it. Don't shout. If you didn't make a mistake, then why did it end up like this? You're terrible, Oni-chan. You're doubting Kurumi. But she said it never arrived. It did too. Kurumi delivered it to an Asakura-san. Don't talk until I say so. Kurumi did deliver it to Asakura-san. What does that mean? Hearing his exchange again makes me a little sentimental. Hearing this exchange. It's very nostalgic. Yeah, this is the part where Yuka remembers Saki. Saki, could it be that you're that Saki Asakura? Just as I thought. I feel conviction welling up within me as I watch Saki and Yuka's reunion unfold. I don't know what that means in this context. Time is certainly repeating itself, there's no doubt about it. But why? No, more importantly, April 6th is in 5 days. Saki will jump from the tip of the cape at Viewpoint Park. When I think about that, Izumi-san forces her way through Yuka and Saki. Well then, I'll treat you to dinner tonight. It'll be a celebration for your reunion. Huh? No way, that's too much. Wait a second, I came here to clear up the issue about my pizza. Then you can also consider this my apology. And so things begin to develop the same way they did last time. This gets me thinking. Perhaps this might be a chance granted to me by God. God is commanding me to save Saki this time. If things go on this way, then in 5 days, the same tragedy will occur. Is God lending me his power to attempt to prevent it? Okay, so they're going to explore God in the plot. Unfortunately, though, this is a fictional story. So, Kutaro Uchikoshi wrote it. Alright, I'll give it all I've got. For Saki's sake. I'll do my best to take care of her and get through these 6 days. Will you all eat with them too? With pleasure. It did the same choice it did the first time. Don't know if that's programmed in. I immediately answer. It feels like I'm plunging right into fate. Fate and God are contrasting. So, make up your mind. After that, we went shopping for rice and ate Izumi-san's dinner. After dinner, we snuck into the pool and fled from the yelling security guard once again. It felt like I was watching a video recording of everything. But there is one difference. Late at night, I didn't pick up the bell on Moon Beach on our way back to the lodge. No, to be precise, I couldn't pick it up. The bell wasn't lying on the shore. Well, this time it wouldn't have been Kurumi who picked it up. So who was it? I looked for it as hard as I could, but it was nowhere to be found. It's possible that because I have my memories, history might have changed a little bit. Besides, I don't think it matters that much. It's not like the bell was the direct cause of that tragedy after all. Well, it's a different thought than in other plotlines. If I continue to trust Saki, then that history will never repeat. The bell isn't a problem. As I think that way, I return to the lodge and fall asleep. Actually, you need to catch the person who stole the money. This time, I'll definitely save Saki. I promise myself this. But just where should I start from? I'm lost. In order to save Saki, I have to get rid of her distrust of humans. The problem isn't just her opposition towards Yuka, about the magician's portrait incident from their middle school days. Perhaps she also had a more psychological problem. Anyway, I need to quickly establish an emotional bond with Saki. Though I think that not one thing worthwhile has happened today. I haven't found a single opportunity to naturally bond with her at this camp. In the end, I just dragged myself along as I went with the flow, and now we've all finally arrived at the pier. No, wait, doesn't this mean that incident will... Yes, it definitely will. It has to, because we have one Saki sprite, and that Saki and Okuhiko sprite stack that we haven't seen yet. I mean, not sprite, art asset, CG, whatever you want to call it. It's starting. Saki and Haruka's quarrel, that is. I immediately start running. Saki shakes off Haruka, then runs to the tip of the pier. Saki screams at the same time as the booming roar of the wave breaks out. What a monstrous wave. The same unbelievably large wave from that day strikes the pier with a large sheet of water. As it strikes, the wave devours Saki and drags her into the ocean. How did I forget about something so important? Because plot. This has to happen to advance the plot, sir. Okay, watch for a bit. I decide to watch for a bit. Immediately afterwards, Izumi-san runs and dives into the ocean off of the tip of the pier. This is all the same as last time, isn't it? Izumi-san grabs Saki. While holding her with one arm, she desperately swims back. And then she finally arrives at the edge of the pier. I immediately lift up the limp Saki. Izumi-san crawls up on the top of the bank with her own strength. Okay, so the difference is Makoto instead of Okuhiko. So this is that last CG. Saki's face is pale and she's completely lost consciousness. For some reason, her expression is strikingly beautiful. Look after her for a while. I'm going to get some help. Kurumi will too. Kurumi tails Izumi-san. Saki. I shake Saki's body. At that time, I see a light in Saki's hand. It's that bell, isn't it? I quickly grab the bell and stick it in my pocket. Are you alright? Do you know who I am? I slap Saki's cheeks. Saki's eyelids faintly move. Saki's eyes flutter open and she blankly stares at me. I gaze back at her. Now you're choosing what we're going to say. We want to lie and say that it was Izumi-san that saved her or whatever. Her gaze is bewitching. I can't quite look away. We take Saki to the clinic and the diagnosis is the same as in my memory. And just like last time, she'll be staying over one night just to be safe. But I'm glad I didn't know that what would happen there for a while. It seems humans can't die that easily after all. What's up with that? Did you want to die? I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. Huh? I wish I could honestly be glad. That's why I'm sure I'm not cute. Well, now I understand why that line was there. That was foreshadowing. I kind of knew that, but it was like, I kind of forgot. Like, it wasn't in my internal list of plot points that needed to be fulfilled later. Like, it wasn't on the checklist. Even though you went to all the trouble of saving my life, Makoto-kun. Huh? My mind is thrown into intense disorder. Saki thinks I saved her life. This is exactly the same as what happened with Okuhiko last time, isn't it? But I can't find the timing to break the truth to her. Things stay like this, it'll be bad. More importantly, what are we going to do now? It doesn't seem like we can all stay here with Saki-san the whole time. Anyway, why don't we head back to the shop to settle down? As for Saki-san, I know Kurumi stay with her. Huh, just Kurumi? You need to be helpful to others every once in a while. Think of it as an atonement for failing to deliver the pizza to Saki-san. No fair, even though that wasn't Kurumi's fault. You're not going to listen to your sister? Why'd you have to put it that way? Kurumi gets it. Jeez. Please wait a minute, I'll stay here. I announced this. Because I want to be by Saki's side. And besides, there's also something I want to confirm. It's fine, you don't have to stay here just for me. I'm not worried about you, Saki, I just want to stay here. Well then, I guess we'll leave it to you, Makoto-kun. Everyone nods at Izumi-san's words. And after everyone leaves, Saki and I face each other. She believes that I saved her life. I can tell by the embarrassed way she's looking at me. Saki says she can't trust people and acts tough, but she really can't help but want to trust them. It's no different from someone who's pining for love. As I remember that Saki in my memories, I decided to try to finally have her reveal her connection to Haruka and the bell. By the way, what were you talking to Haruka about at that time? Just before the monstrous wave hit, you were talking with Haruka, right? After that, you ran all the way towards the tip of the pier. Did you hear something from Haruka-chan? No, but I'm worried. About Haruka-chan? About you. What are you saying? Why? Huh? Why are you worried about me? It doesn't matter. Koto-kun? You won't tell me? I take the bell out of my pocket. I notice Saki's face turning pale. This bell means something to you, doesn't it? I at least know that much. I ring the bell. Just as expected, Saki reacts to it. She averts her gaze from the bell, her body visibly trembling. Stop. Stop. Tell me what happened. No. No. I embrace Saki as hard as I can. Don't worry, I'm here. Koto-kun, I trust you. Trembling Saki gives a small nod. When I was a kid, there was this charcoal burning hut behind my summer house, where a girl about my age lived. The only ones that lived there were her and her father. That girl and I became good friends, and I gave her a bell. It was a bell I got from my mama. And this is that bell? I don't know, but it's the splitting image of it. Splitting image. When I did that, Mama got really angry at me and told me, get it back. That was the only thing I had given the girl, so I told Mama I wouldn't do it. Then my papa, what did he say? If you don't listen to what your mama says, then you're not my daughter. That I might as well join the girl in the charcoal burning hut. That's why I went to get it back together with Mama. The girl tried to chase after me when we retrieved it, acting like we were thieves. Mama told me to throw stones at her, so I did, over and over again. She was bleeding heavily from the left side of her forehead. I was scared. I was really scared, but... Yep, you changed the story depending on the choices. Remember that in the other, if you go down Haruka's route, there's an implication that Haruka got the scar on her forehead from Izumi. Despite that, Mama told me, it's alright, you absolutely mustn't be friendly with clones. You mustn't sympathize with her. A clone? That girl was a clone. At that time, the clone law hadn't been passed yet, so they were living in hiding. That girl, Haruka, she has a scar on the left side of her forehead. And more than anything, she has that bell. That's why I... You took it again? I was just scared. But was that girl really Haruka? I don't know. I can't remember her name anymore. I don't want to remember. Saki, try to confirm it. Have a proper chat with Haruka and try to confirm it. Because we know from Haruka's route that she got her scar from somewhere else. Or she didn't. Saki? No, I can't meet with Haruka. The truth is I get scared whenever I see her face. I see, I understand. Leave the rest to me. Huh? I'll do it. Saki looks at me with unease. I look into Saki's eyes and speak with a firm voice. It's fine, don't worry, trust me. And I'll also continue to only trust you. Saki stares at me with wide eyes and nods slowly. After that, I reunite with the others at Luna Beach. However, I get absolutely no chances to talk to Haruka all alone. You will. In the end, I catch up with her after I've returned to the lodge and taken a bath. I think asking her straight will be the best way. I tell her what I saw on the pier and everything Saki told me in the sick room. What do you think, Haruka? In the story she told about her childhood true? Is the story she told about her childhood true? If so, then do you resent Saki? I don't know. I don't know any of it. Then why is it that when you showed this to Saki, she said threatening things to you? I take out the bell to show her. I picked that up on the beach last night. It was sort of nostalgic. Nostalgic? On the day it was taken from me, it felt like I had lost my heart. Saki took it away from you? I don't really know. When I was a kid, I would always play in my room all alone. I only had that bell. It's very similar to that bell I had back then. But a girl stole it from me. This isn't yours because you're just a replacement. Then she pushed me and I hit my head on the edge of the desk chair. Probably. Well, this is confusing. So, is she just calling Kurumi that girl? I mean, also, Haruka said she didn't remember how she got the scar on her forehead. So that's what the small scar on your forehead came from. When Saki saw the scar and that bell, she suddenly changed. She got scary. What's the meaning of this? I'm confused. Hi, I am also confused. Both of their stories are similar in that they revolve around the bell, but there's a lot of parts about them that just don't mesh at all. Wait a minute, was the girl who took the bell from you really Saki? Haruka averts her eyes from me. It seems she's taken no notice of the discrepancies in their stories. It's the same with Saki. They're both under the impression that the other is the one in their story, despite not having all the facts of the case. Things could get bad if I don't confirm a few more minor points. That's what I think. So what the implication is Izumi took the bell from Haruka and pushed her into a desk. Haruka got the scar on her forehead. But Saki also took a bell from a girl and also threw a rock at her and put a scar on her forehead. And so, just by random plot, by contrivance, plot happened. I remember their old rivalry that they had in the last set of 6 days. It originated from their childhood memories, which they didn't even attempt to examine more closely. So Saki did not even know that Haruka was a clone. Saki just also happened to steal the bell back from a clone. And Haruka just also happened to be a clone. The two of them, those memories are their primal scenery defining moments of their early life. And that primal scenery reason doesn't exist. Even if they spoke to a third party about it, they would still remain stubborn and refuse to be swayed by logic. Because of that, I think I need to arrange a meeting between them in order to set things straight and clear things up. However, I doubt they'd listen to me if I'm blatant about it. There's also Yuka and the others to worry about. I don't want to attract any unwanted attention. That would only lower my chances even more. Just then, I remember. Last time on this very night, I promised to go fishing with Haruka. I'll try using that. I'll take those two to the pier where they can settle the dispute over who's right and who's wrong. Invite her to go fishing. Hey Haruka, let's go fishing tomorrow. Well, is it a promise? Promise? That's right, a promise. How can we make something like a promise? Huh? You don't know what will happen tomorrow, right? We'll go tomorrow no matter what happens, that's what we've decided. How can you decide that? That's because I trust you. Trust? And you trust me too. I trust you too. You trust me. That's right, without mutual trust, a promise means nothing. Mutual trust? Yeah. So then you and I can trust each other? That's right. When tomorrow comes, don't forget this promise. No matter what happens, remember it, alright? I gulp as Haruka nods. Haruka leaves the room. I lie down on the bed and close my eyes. I hope tomorrow goes well. The morning has arrived. Jumping to wrong conclusions, okay. When I enter the living room, everything goes the same way as it did last time. When I begin to eat the toast Kurumi brought, Haruka comes in the same way she did last time. Okuhiko's chasing after her. Promise, what promise? I'm going fishing today. Hold on, we're scheduled to play tennis today. Huh? Tennis? Haruka, you can't just say I'll pass today, that would be going against the group leader's orders. Haruka looks at me with a troubled expression. That's right, Haruka-chan, as planned, we're playing tennis. I made a promise. It's fine, don't cancel that promise. Just cancel that promise. I have to keep my promise no matter what. Haruka-san, who did you make that promise with? It was with me. Huh? Haruka and I are going fishing today. We're not going to play tennis. Why is Isahari saying that? Is it true, Haruka-chan? Yes. So we'll be going now. Sorry, Yuka, but we're going to have to ignore your orders. Well, that's fine. The leader's not a dictator, after all. Hold on, Yuka-chan. You can't just let them off this easy. Ishihara, you still don't understand. The basis of the seminar is group activities, isn't it? You have no right to say that. What was that? I leave the living room. Haruka quickly follows me. Wait, Haruka-chan, what happened between you and Ishihara? We made a promise. That's not an explanation. What happened between you and Ishihara yesterday? I'm not going to tell you. Why not? This is something between me and Makoto. It doesn't concern you, Okuhiko. Why are you going fishing with Ishihara? What do you see in that? Makoto, trust me. Trust Ishihara. It's clear as day that this vulgar Edward has some kind of ulterior motive. We trust each other. You wouldn't understand. You're the one who doesn't understand that about the Ishihara. He does have an ulterior... I don't know if you guys would call it ulterior motive, but he does have some sort of something motive. What's going on between me and Makoto is none of your concern. You're wrong, it does concern me. Okuhiko, stop making a fool of yourself. Shut up, you don't have to... Whatever, Haruka, shall we go? Wait, tell him straight. Huh? About how you and I trust each other no matter what happens, isn't that right? Tell Okuhiko, tell him it doesn't concern him. Tell him we're the only ones who understand. Hold on. Where did this turn of events come from? Why aren't you saying anything? No, Are you saying we can't trust each other? That's not it at all. Haruka-chan, what's so good about this irresponsible Edward? Irresponsible? I want to Google something. Cool. I should be saying Edmund instead of Edward, apparently. You don't even know the circumstances. I trust Haruka. We made a promise last night. I trust Haruka, that's why Haruka trusts me too. Suddenly a dry sound echoes. Taken aback, we all turn towards the sound. Saki is standing frozen at the front door. Laying at her feet is her basket. I see, so you really trust her after all. Now let's think about it, this is around the time Saki arrived last time. Hold on, Saki! I'll be going now, farewell. You're wrong, there's a reason for it! I rush over to Saki as she tries to run. I reach my hand out, but Saki violently slaps it aside. She gives me a piercing glare. Just then, she suddenly crushes the basket. She's crushing it. The sound of the wood snapping is heard. The basket is now broken apart. Plastic tableware scatters everywhere, sandwiches come flying out. Even though I made preparations to prevent it, this time. Haruka throws a powerful glare at Saki, then gets closer and closer to her. Saki, you're wrong! Stay away from me. Even so, Haruka doesn't stop walking. What is it? Get away from me. I have no business with you. Huh? Clone? In the end, the same thing happened. It happened quite a bit earlier than last time, but I don't really remember what happened after that. I'm unable to think of anything. The shock from this time is nowhere as big as it was last time, but at any rate, this time I ended up only hurting both Saki and Haruka. When I come to my senses, it's already nighttime. After what happened, I've been hiding out in my room. An entire day goes by, because we didn't have time to write stuff for that day. I still haven't found a way to change Saki's situation. As time passes on, I start to get impatient. Despite history somewhat changing, it seems like it's still headed in a similar direction. Lying down on the floor of my room is Saki's broken basket. Should I try to fix it? This time I'll fix it myself. The current me is the only one who can do something that trivial. As I'm fixing the basket, Haruka suddenly comes in. Is that Saki's? Yeah. Have you been fixing it all this time? Well, yeah. I'll help. It's fine. It's my fault, right? That's not true. You don't have to cover for me. No, it really isn't your fault. I'll help. I said it's fine. What you're feeling isn't irresponsible, right? Even I understand at least that much. That's why. Haruka, just what happened between you and Saki? You need to talk properly to her. I hate it when I see the two of you like you are right now. Your relationship is strained over a simple misunderstanding. Don't you find that strange? You might be scared, but I want you to leave it to me. Alright. As I nod, I hold up the basket I'm fixing. I think it'll take until tomorrow morning to fix. It's a really big job, you know? I understand. Haruka gives me a little smile. The next morning, I've gone to visit Saki at her summer house with the basket that I was somehow able to fix with a little help from Haruka. I press the intercom's button and speak up. It's me, it's Makoto. What is it? I need to talk with you for a bit. I summon Saki to come outside. While waiting for her to come out, I examine the basket over and over again. My handiwork isn't so bad. Maybe I would have been able to fix it last time as well. Just then Saki appears, breaking my train of thought. So what are you doing here? I silently hold out the basket to her. What about it? I thought for sure this was probably your favorite. In other words, I guess you would say that I felt that, how do I put it? And this is going completely at Saki's pace. So since I thought this was important to you, I figured, okay. Why would you say the exact same thing again? This kind of feels like I'm doing the same things I did last time. I wonder why it feels like that. I was too lazy to write more dialogue, so I decided to rewrite the old dialogue. When I take a step into the living room of the summer house, Saki suddenly turns around furious. Who said it was okay for you to come in? You just left without even fully hearing me out. It's not like I'm done. I thought I told you not to talk until I say so. When I shut my mouth, Saki glances at the basket in my hands. You fixed it, huh? It's alright, I was going to throw it out anyway. You can't buy these anymore, right? They're mass-produced. You can buy these anywhere, right? They're mass-produced. It's not like they're unique. Saki's being stubborn. I already know she's just trying to act tough. How naive. Were you planning on buttering me up with something like this? I instinctively laugh. Although she says that, Saki will come to thank me tonight. Making such a silly excuse like I was on a walk in the middle of the night. What's so funny? Sorry, you're just acting kinda cute. Don't be stupid. You're wrong. There's nothing stupid about it. You're lying. I'm not lying. Didn't I tell you? I said that I'll continue to only trust you. Then yesterday was... That was... Explain. That was a pretext Haruka and I used so that I could go out to talk together with you. What's that mean? I also told this to Haruka, but it really would be best for the two of you to have a talk. I feel as if you and Haruka are both strangely out of sync. You two are making the same mistake. Both of you are stubborn because you two are under the false impression that the other is a bad person. I know you're scared, but if you don't talk now, then you'll surely never recover from this. Will you quietly leave this to me? You'll end up a splat on the rocks and by the sea. I solemnly ask her this. Is it really okay for me to trust you? Yeah. It's okay for me to trust you this time? I give her a deep nod. I take Saki to Viewpoint Park. Haruka is already waiting under the lighthouse. Last night I asked Haruka to come here at this time. Is this after the barbecue? The barbecue's on the 4th. This is the 3rd. So this is when you would have gone fishing with Haruka, but you don't, and then you would have been doing the test of courage. Okay. The two face each other underneath the lighthouse. Their bodies stiffen up due to the extreme tension. As I look back and forth between them, I slowly begin to talk. Alright, well then, let's get this settled once and for all. I place the bell in between Saki and Haruka. Saki, you took back a bell from a girl in a charcoal-burning hut, whom you'd given the bell to in the first place. The clone girl then chased after you, so you threw stones at her and wounded her forehead. Yes. And Haruka, when the bell you treasured was taken away from you by some girl, you chased after her and were pushed away. That's when you hit your forehead on the edge of a desk chair, and you got that scar, is that right? Yes. So, in both your stories, you both either took a bell or had one taken from you. Both stories resulted in a girl getting wounded on her forehead. Both of them not. But what about the rest? For example, ages. Haruka, how old are you when you got that scar on your forehead? I don't know, but I think it was before I could go outside. I see. Then what about you, Saki? Which means nothing. Before you could go outside? What? Do you remember about how old you were when you played with the girl with the from the charcoal burning hut? That's my family's summer house and had just been completed, so I was 6 years old. If Saki was 6, then Haruka was 5 at the time. Normally healthy 5-year-olds in this country are able to go outside, which means that there's a large time gap in between your memories. Haruka's incident must have happened sometime before Saki's. Also, your stories regarding the origin of the forehead wound don't match up. Even though Saki said it was a wound caused by stones thrown at the girl, according to Haruka, it seems like it was a scar caused from hitting the edge of a desk chair. Because of your very strong memories, both of you neglected these small differentiations and were convinced that the other was the girl in your memories. Saki and Haruka look at each other timidly. And this was the main reason why this happened. I say this and hold up the bell. Both of you wait here. Saki and Haruka nod, and I clench the hand holding the bell into a fist. Because of this bell, you both made a strange misunderstanding. But this is the end. Your fighting will end here. They both nod. Once I've confirmed that, I throw the bell over the cliff. It shines in the sunlight for an instant, leaving behind a small ring, and then it begins to sink into the sea. With this, I've changed history. The previous conflict between these two has disappeared without a trace. After that, we all went to the barbecue just as planned. We spent several hours just drinking, singing, and creating a loud uproar. Okay, so this is actually the 4th. I forgot what day it was. In the end, the barbecue ends in peace with nothing happening. In other words, Saki, Haruka, and Yuka never had their fight. Well, then I think about it, it's only natural that I didn't. Saki and Haruka's relationship has been completely mended after all. I feel myself breathing a sigh of relief. Before long, we finish cleaning up the barbecue and head back to the lodge. On the way back, I am climbing up the hill. Saki suddenly comes running up to my side. What's up, Saki? While I'm here, thank you for this morning. Thank you? Are you talking about the basket? Saki nods, her face red from embarrassment. Well then, that means I've thanked you. Leading with those words, Saki begins to run up the hill road. I smile as I see her off. We still haven't told Saki that we did not save her life when she got thrown into the water from the pier, and that's going to come up at the end, and it is going to be, well, history repeats itself. What a lie. Yeah, it's not a lie. As I throw myself down on the bed, I think about that. When I close my eyes, I fall into a deep, peaceful sleep. Okay. 2 more days. The next morning I wake up, kill time in the living room for a little while, then head for Saki's summer house. The time is 10:12 a.m. It should be at this exact time that the puppy comes over to see Saki. When I head around the backyard, I see Saki feeding the puppy just as expected. The puppy devours the food while happily wagging its tail. Yo, Saki, I cheerfully call out to her. Koto-kun, that puppy is energetic as always, huh? Saki gets flustered as she desperately searches for words. Before Saki can say anything, I speak first. It's alright, don't say anything. I've known this whole time that you've been taking care of this puppy. Huh? I also know that on the first you ordered the pizza for that puppy's sake. And also, I might also know why you like animals and plants. You can't trust people, but animals and plants don't tell lies, right? That's right, they don't speak words, they don't need to. But Saki, don't you think that's a little wrong? The magician's portrait. Saki instantly trembles in shock and turns towards me. It was during your cultural festival in middle school. Did you hear about it from Yuka? Technically yes. I slowly nod. It's partially a lie. In this timeline, I never heard the story from Yuka. However, she told it to me last time. I wanted to look at it all alone. Saki's eyes fill with tears. I just wanted to see it alone when no one was around. The instant she says this, a large tear Large tears pour from her eyes. She tries to control herself by standing rigidly as if she's rooted into the ground, but her thin shoulders quiver. She clenches her hands into tight fists. The tears flying off her face fall onto those small fists. The magician Yuka drew. It was really incredible, wasn't it? Saki looks at me. Her gaze is filled with loneliness. Saki nods while biting her lip. New tears overflow in her eyes. Hey Saki, I know the truth. You weren't running away because you destroyed the painting. Huh? It's because you just didn't want anyone to see you crying. Right? Saki gives a lonely nod and mutters this. The only ones who will listen to what I have to honestly say is the stray cat who lives at my school, and this cherry blossom tree on my campus. You're wrong, Saki. There's one more person you can talk honestly to. He's right here. Koto-kun. You don't need words. I'll become the cat in the cherry blossom tree. Okay. That's enough. I don't want to see you cry. I told you before I trust you, Saki. And from now on I'll continue to trust you. No matter what happens, I will only trust you forever. I wonder if you have to dive in instead of Azumi at the beginning, otherwise you get a bad end. I'm gonna have to go back to that first choice and redo it. Saki nods in while burying her face into my chest. Well, okay. Yeah. No matter what happens, no matter what anyone says, I won't repeat the same mistake. I'll definitely continue to believe in Saki. Well, that wasn't your problem, though. The problem is someone set up a prank. Set up a Joseph prank. Before long, the day ends. Azumi-san and Kurumi come over to the lodge to sleep over. The sisters are as cheerful as ever. Saki doesn't act rude towards them and has fun. Yuka also doesn't seem bothered about that magician's portrait incident too. Actually, it might be better to say that it's possible that she's completely forgotten about it. So as long as the bell itself doesn't show up, there'll be nothing to remind me of those unpleasant memories of mine. There's 2 bells, so good luck with that. I think the right way for me to live is for me to leave all those negative things behind me. Just like that time Izumi-san came here carrying her bulging handbag around her arm. Of course, inside is today's earnings from Luna Beach. The fateful day has finally arrived. Sometime between tonight and tomorrow's sunrise, someone will probably come and steal all of our money. This time I'll prove Saki's innocence. If I do that, then that incident tomorrow shouldn't happen. I sit down by myself on the living room sofa, deciding to stay and watch all night. Everyone else is in their own rooms. Only Saki went back, returning to her summer house. From Yuka's room, I can hear the sound of girls' cheerful voices. As I listen to them chatter, I determinedly continue to wait for the real criminal to show up. It's already been almost an hour since Yuka's room went quiet. Before I knew it, the sound of rainfall had started resounding outside the lodge. I glanced at the cuckoo clock. It's around this time that I heard the sound of that bell. Just then, at that time, I hear something striking a window, but it's hard to pinpoint which window it is. My body becomes tense. I strain my ears as I search in the darkness for the source of the sound. Kodoken? Kodoken? It's Saki's voice. I heard it coming from my room. I jump off the sofa and rush into my room. No one's here. I don't hear a voice anymore. Sound of the window being tapped on has stopped as well. I open the ceiling window and raise my body up there. The sound of the rainfall becomes a deafening roar, and my upper body gets completely soaked in mere seconds. I stare out into the darkness while squinting my eyes in the rain. There's no sign of anyone there. I jump down to the top of my bed and shut the window. At the same time, I hear the front door closing. I burst out of my room with the force of a bullet. There's no one in the living room. I open the front door and rush outside. I hear the tapping sound of someone running down the staircase. I lean forward on the terrace and look down. By field of vision, I see a girl running. It's Saki. Saki is fiercely running towards the forest path in the middle of the downpour. Saki! I shout as loud as I can. She can't hear me, though. The violent roar of the rain has drowned out my voice. That's when I notice something. Looking at Saki from above, I can see that she's holding something against her chest. Holding something. No way, it can't be. So the thief really was Saki? I rush down the stairs, plunging into the downpour. Near the entrance to the forest path, I see two bright red lights. It's the taxi. Saki's ponytail sways as she runs toward it. Saki gets in. The headlights turn on, illuminating the countless falling raindrops in the darkness. The taxi starts driving away in unison with the sound of exhaust coming from its pipe. The bright red taillights of the taxi get farther and farther away, and the sound of the tires driving on gravel is eventually drowned away by the rain. What? The next morning, I stagger to the living room when I hear Izumi-san scream. I watch blankly as Izumi-san returns her handbag with a pale face. What's wrong? Yesterday's proceeds, they're all gone. Oni-chan, did you look thoroughly? Of course. Did you possibly put them down in a different place? No way, this is the only place they'd be. If that's the case, then they were stolen. That's the only possibility I can think of. What should we do? Actually, there's something bugging me. What? More importantly, we need to inform the police. You're right, anyway, the police. I pay no attention to their conversation. After what happened last night, I couldn't sleep as all I could think about was Saki. Just what was it? That Saki was holding against her chest last night. It couldn't be. No, it's impossible. I'm definitely making a mistake. Saki will come soon. When she does, what should I do? I have to make sure that things don't get messed up again. Pardon my intrusion, Makoto-kun, are you there? Finally, Saki comes. She wipes the raindrops out of her hair. Sorry for barging in like this, but it's really pouring out there. Sorry, but could I borrow a towel? Yuka heads towards the kitchen. Izumi-san slightly raises her head and looks at Saki. Okuhi glances at Saki. Kurumi looks at Saki without lifting her head. Only Haruka's behavior feels slightly different from the last time. Makoto-kun, glad you're here. I have something to tell you. This is the second time I've seen her face like this. She's beaming as if something good happened to make her happy. Is it because she's happy about taking the money? Why am I thinking something so stupid? Is something wrong? Saki tilts her head questioningly as she surveys her surroundings. A thief broke in. What, a thief? You came here in the dead of night last night, right? I saw it. I saw you just as you left the lodge. Where'd you go on that taxi you got into? Is that true? You can't say and you don't know about it. There was another witness. Who? Ishihara, would you please tell us exactly what you saw? You saw it? What'd you see? You chased her outside, didn't you? You should have seen her face as well. Makoto, you chased her? No, Will you stop lying? I lower my head, fully aware of the other's piercing glares. I look towards Saki. She is staring straight into my eyes. Yeah, I definitely followed them. Who was it? Who? Hey, Shihara. I don't know. I just want to scream that she's innocent. You're wrong, it wasn't Saki. I want to so badly, but I can't. That person I saw last night was definitely Saki. That's why I can't cover for her. Even though I want to trust her, I can't. I don't know what to do. My mind is scrambled and I lose the ability to make any sound judgments. Whatever, judging from your behavior, you don't even need to say anything for me to know. Saki-chan, what were you doing here last night? I didn't do it. I didn't steal anything. If that's the case, then why don't you tell us what you were doing? I don't know anything. There's no way you don't know what you did. I don't know what I don't know. Saki-chan, can I ask you one thing? Was it you? Will you tell us the truth? Saki averts her eyes. She purses her lips and clenches her hands into fists. Saki. I finally managed to bring my voice out. Saki looks towards me. Her desperate gaze is begging me to help her. Makoto-kun, you trust me, right? Yeah, I trust you. You're lying. I'm not. If you're not lying, then why aren't you saying anything? Why aren't you saying it wasn't me? That's... Saki, even I want to trust you, but... So you can't really trust me unless I use words? Saki slowly shakes her head. You're the same, Makoto. All humans are the same. Saki turns back and bursts out the front door. Saki! Same thing's happening again. So I've hit the bad ending, apparently. Saki begins to descend the forest path, which is practically changed into a marsh, as if she's tumbling down. I desperately chase after her. I keep running against the pouring rain. Will history repeat itself after all? No, I definitely won't let that happen. I'll definitely prevent it. Saki, I don't want to lose you. At the tip of the cape, the dead end. Saki grips the fence with her back turned towards me. I hear the sound of waves breaking at the bottom of the cliff. The cold rain intensely beats down on Saki's back. Saki! As I shout, I run to her. Saki doesn't try to answer or turn around. She then crosses over the boundary of the dead end. Stay away. Don't get any closer. I come to a halt. The fiercely blowing wind waves through Saki's hair. It's as I've thought this whole time. Huh? No one even gives anything about me. Saki. That's why I don't trust people. I can't trust them. I don't want to trust them. Saki, trust me. I don't care if you don't trust anyone else. But I want you to trust me alone. I don't trust people. I can't trust them. I don't want to trust them. Saki repeats the same words she did last time. I was also lying to you. I didn't trust you. Saki quietly raises her dangling left hand and opens it. Lying there in her palm is... That's impossible. Why is that bell... I definitely threw it away from this park, so why... Stagger towards her, completely baffled by this turn of events. I told you not to get any closer. Stay away! Don't get any closer, I'll really... I slowly approach Saki in my dim sense of consciousness. Take another firm step, and at that instant, Saki lets go of the fence with her right hand. She gently closes her eyes. Her body leans backward. The bell slips and falls from her now powerless left hand. And like that she falls. She falls into the pitch black, alluring darkness. Like a scrap of paper dancing in the wind. Splat. Why? Why, Saki? Saki. I lose all my strength in my body. I stagger forward like I'm being drawn in, and chase after Saki. Wait, are you saying you jump off the cliff after her? Well... Okay. Fucky bad end. Great. Okay, let's try this again. Dive into the sea, I'm pretty sure is correct. This time I don't hesitate. I continue to run and jump off the tip of the pier into the ocean. I desperately grab Saki's body as she starts to sink towards the maelstrom. Her weight is straining my arm. Ocean water floods into my throat. Well, that was oops. I'll be darned if I die here. For some reason, people can't swim in fiction. When I finally raise our heads out in an interval between the waves, I hear the group's voices. Oni-chan? Saki? While holding Saki, I aim for the banks. I finally barely manage to make it to the shore, and I lift Saki's body up onto the top of the pier. At that time, I see a light in Saki's hand. It's that bell, isn't it? I quickly grab that bell and stick it in my pocket. Then, I also quickly get up on the pier. I hold Saki in my arms. Saki's face is pale and she's completely lost consciousness. This won't let me fast forward. For some reason, her expression is strikingly beautiful. Saki, Saki. I slap Saki's cheeks. Saki's eyelids faintly move. Have you come to your senses? Do you know who I am? Saki's eyes flutter open and she blankly stares at me. I turn around and see everyone approaching. Hey Saki-chan, did Saki-chan come to her senses? I give Izumi-san a nod, then turn my attention back to Saki. She's still firmly staring at me. It's here that I first realize it. History is easy to change. Can you fast forward now? Yes, I can. Now I can say, well, that's true. It seems Saki thinks I'm the one who saved her life. Well, that might be true, but her sudden honesty is throwing me a bit off balance. More importantly, what are we going to do now? It doesn't seem like we can all stay here. Okay. Let's try this. Explain the circumstances. Huh. Now we have this choice. Saki didn't steal, so Saki didn't steal anything. Cool. What was that? Saki definitely isn't the kind of person who would do that. But don't you think she's acting weird? It's true. It's true that last night I saw Saki get into a taxi. But while that may be true, it doesn't necessarily mean that Saki is the culprit. No, that's impossible. Then what is she doing? What? That doesn't matter, does it? I don't like this. Look, you can see the concern written on everyone's faces. Makoto, what is the meaning of this? If you know, then explain it. Yuka? Saki-chan, can I ask you one thing? Was it you? Will you tell us the truth? Saki averts her eyes. She purses her lips and clenches her hand into fists. Izumi-san, Kurumi, how could you say that? Can't you trust her without an explanation? Do you really need words in order to trust her? In the real world, yes. In fact, you do. I'm different. Huh? I'm a clone. That's enough, stop. Saki? Enough already. All humans are the same. Saki? Saki turns around and starts running towards the front door. Just as I'm about to pursue her, Haruka mutters this. Makoto, I trust Saki. Her words slowly sink into my heart. I give Haruka a firm nod that immediately pursues Saki. Saki begins to descend the forest path, which is okay. This is the bad end. Yep. Okay. Dive into the sea. This doesn't matter, probably. Explain the circumstances. She didn't steal anything. I'm here because I trust you. I mean, with these choices, if you don't get the choice, you're gonna say a line. If you get the choice, you can choose between the lines. You want to choose the one that you wouldn't get if you didn't get the choice. I just forgot what he said when you don't get the choice. Saki, listen. I didn't come all the way here because I wanted you to trust me. It's because I trust you, Saki. That's why I came here. Why? Why are you sticking up for me? Because I trust you. Because I trust you completely, Saki. You're lying. I'm not lying. Didn't I tell you you don't need words? From now on, I'll be your cat and tree. I said that, right? And besides, you now have a reason to trust people. Saki is breathlessly taken aback. I don't know what's so special about saying that, but okay. She purses her lips tightly. Tears are pouring from her wide eyes down her cheeks. But, Saki, you're such an idiot. Saki is sobbing. I slowly approach her and embrace her from the other side of the fence. And she pulls me off the fence and I fall into the sea with her, and I die also. Just like that, I carefully lift Saki up and pull her towards me. I don't see why that changed things. Those words Saki rubs her... Okay. It's like total 180, just a slightly different words. Yesterday's storm has cleared up like it was all fake, leaving behind a crisp and cloudless morning sky. I finished getting dressed and packing up. Today is the day the camp finally ends. And it's the first April 7th I've experienced. No, it's not. April 7th of 2019 you've experienced. Yesterday, after that incident, I brought Saki back to her summer house. It felt as if we could spend the day in silence. It would be alright as long as we could be together. And since Saki begins to tell me about what had happened on the night of the 5th to the early hours of the 6th. On that night, the sleepless Saki went out to take a walk in the rain when she saw a limp puppy collapse on the side of the forest path. It was that very same puppy, perhaps it was run over by a car, and Saki thought that. She frantically rushed back to her summer house and called the island's taxi service. The taxi finally arrived about 10 minutes later. Saki thought she'd also try to inform me, and so from the lodge's terrace she used the long tree branch to knock on my window. She also tried calling out to me, but I didn't reply. Of course I didn't, I was in the living room at the time. When I heard her voice, I went to my room. At the same time Saki went into the living room, we completely missed each other. And we distracted the reader into thinking that Saki did that intentionally to set up a crime, to like distract you into your room, so she could come in and steal stuff. However, although I usually fall for that stuff, I didn't this time. Since she couldn't locate me, Saki gave up, rushed out of the lodge, and went into the taxi. The thing that Saki was holding against her chest at that time wasn't the stolen money, but the puppy. After that, Saki brought it to the clinic. The island doesn't have an animal hospital. When she did, the doctor... run over by a car? It's just debilitated from being soaked by the rain. It's alright, if you give it 2 or 3 days of rest, it'll be up and about before you know it. It's the same as when you were brought here a few days ago. Gave that cheerful answer. At the doctor's recommendation, Saki decided to sleep by the puppy's side that night. And the next morning, well, because it's a strain it's not trained, it would likely poop in places you wouldn't want it to. But whatever, we'll just brush over that. After this, I'll take responsibility for it and take care of it until it recovers. When the doctor told Saki that, she went home with a relieved smile on her face. The rest, as they say, is history. Except someone was a thief, though. I mean, you can't just ignore that. When she finished telling her story, Saki's face was fresh and clear. She wore a smile as beautiful as this cloudless blue sky. When I go to the living room, I see the others are also finished packing and come out of their rooms. Last night, I took Saki to the lodge and told the story to the group, who all understood and apologized to Saki. Amongst them, Yuka was the most relieved. I'm sorry, Saki, not just for this, but everything else up until now. I probably had a bit of a grudge against you, that's why I just attacked whatever you said. No, it's fine. I've always been obsessed over what happened back in middle school. I'm sorry, you must have felt unpleasant about it this whole time. No way, if you're talking about that incident, I never thought you did. You did it, I just got stubborn. The truth is, that janitor probably accidentally destroyed the painting, himself, and blamed it on you. Yes, that's right, that's what I surely think. Yuka, thank you. No. And Haruka-san, I'm sorry about everything up until now. Huh? I heard about it from Makoto-kun. Thank you for trusting me. It's like Saki had no clue Haruka was a clone. Okay. It's strange for you to thank me so much. I didn't say anything, so it's fine. I was happy. Not only because of Yuka and Haruka's feelings, but especially because of Saki finally being true to herself. Koto, it's time to go. Yuka's shout abruptly snaps me out of my thoughts. Sorry, Yuka, truth is I'm not going back with you. Huh? What do you mean? Haruka whispers into Yuka's ear. And that's how it is. Well, that's fine. The leader's not a dictator after all. I'm sorry, but I can't join you for the final group activity. At that time, the phone in the living room suddenly rings. I instinctively pick it up and the police officer's voice comes out from the other line. This morning we caught the group that's been targeting tourist attractions and robbing them. From their confession, we know that they also broke into your lodge. According to the police officer's story, a group of burglars broke into the lodge yesterday at 12:15 a.m. That was the exact time I rushed out of the lodge to chase after Saki. It feels like the thick fog has finally begun to clear up. Well, that was not a very exciting answer to the mystery, though. When Saki and I part from everyone, we head for the clinic. The puppy is full of energy. It seems like it instantly recognized us as it gets excited and barks. Saki and I thank the doctor, take the puppy, and go outside. It looks different than the other sprites. Its skin is more yellow as opposed to brown. We nestle close to each other and walk to the shopping district. Just then, Saki, who's still carrying the puppy in her arms, suddenly grows uneasy and frowns. But when we return, what am I going to do with this puppy? Oh, so that's it. That's it? Don't worry, I'll take it in. You will? My apartment is all worn out, but thanks to that, there's no one else living there. There won't be any trouble. I see, I'm glad. Then I'm wondering if you could take one more in. One more? Saki looks at me with sparkling eyes. Oh no. Okay. Puppy is not a good reason to do that. Actually, there is no good reason to do that. That CG hasn't happened yet. Izumi Cure route unlocked. Okay, so a route previously locked has opened up. Okay, I have Saki's stat page. A lot of polysaccharides. Well, I forgot if these are proteins or polysaccharides. Oh no, I'm no human physiologist on her blood cells. Okay, they don't give you any more, like another movie for that. Okay, one more loop, probably a, Izumi. Still haven't seen this. This is probably Saki at the well, it's probably Saki at the hot spring sprites, that haven't shown up. Now we know what these two not sprites, art assets. Now we know what these two art assets were. Yeah, you have a bunch of these Izumi ones missing. Okay. So not even halfway done with this. Anyway, that was really bad. I did not like that at all. Oh well. This is supposed to be the worst game in the series, so that's fine. Hopefully something better will happen next time. I gotta do some work.